Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Ariza and we're gonna read a book today, and this one called Crowboy. Now this is our second read aloud, and do y'all remember that Chibi is a very shy boy who is always alone at school and is often called names by the other children. Do you know who helps Chibi feel good about himself? Or what do the other children and adults at the school do at the end of the story? Now, some of the vocabulary words in here is tag along. Y'all know what that means? So tag along is someone who follows but is not part of the group. And our other word is foot of the class. Foot of the class means that it's the last person in the group of students in the class. So you're usually just the last person, or you're just like at the end of the line, so you're at the foot of the class. All right, so let's start. Crowboy. This strange boy was afraid of our teacher and could not learn a thing. He was afraid of the children and could not make friends with them at all. He was left alone in the study time. He was left alone in the playtime. He was always at the end of the line, always at the foot of the class. A forlorn little tag-along. So there goes our words. We have foot of the class, which means that he was just at the end of the line. Tag along, which means that he is which means he's just someone that's following along, but he's not part of that group. And then when we have a weird word right here, did y'all notice? It's called forlorn. So that just means that he's just sad or unhappy. So, and he does look sad because he's just always alone, right? He just cannot make friends. He's all the way over here, and then the rest are over here. He's left alone during study time. He doesn't play with anybody. Look, y'all see? This is the class, and he's just at the foot of the class, right there. Soon, Chibi began to make his eyes cross-eyed, so that he was able not to see whatever he did not want to see. So he did that with a purpose, right? He did his eyes like that because he just didn't want to see these mean faces, right? Or the teacher, or the math problems. He just didn't want to see any of that. And Chibi found ways, one after another, to occupy time and amuse himself. Just the ceiling was interesting enough for him to watch for hours. The wood on top of his desk was another thing interesting to watch. A patch of cloth on a boy's shoulder was something to study. Of course, the window showed him many things all year around. Even when it was raining, the window had surprising things to show him. So he's just occupying his time, just to make the day go faster. On the playground, if he closed his eyes and listened, Chibi could hear many different sounds, near and far. And Chibi could hold and watch insects and grubs that most of us wouldn't touch or even look at. So that not only the children in our class, but the older ones and even the younger ones called him stupid and slowpoke. Now that's not nice, right? That's really not nice, and we don't say those words, right? Do you know how this is making him feel that they call him those names? I don't think he feels really happy, right? Why do you think they call him names like that? Why do you think they treat him like that? But slowpoke or not, day after day, Chibi came trudging to school, he always carried the same lunch, a rice ball wrapped in a radish leaf. Even when it rained or stormed, he still came trudging along, wrapped in a raincoat made from dried zebra grass. What does that tell us? That even though they call him names, he doesn't worry about it, right? And so day by day, 5 years went by, and we were in the 6th grade, the last class in school. Our new teacher was Miss Isobe. He was a friendly man with a kind smile. So that's his new teacher in 6th grade. Mr. Isobe often took his class to the hilltop behind the school. He was pleased to learn that Chibi knew all the places where the wild grapes and wild potatoes grew. He was amazed to find how much Chibi knew about all the flowers in our class garden. He liked Chibi's black and white drawings and tacked them up on the wall to be admired. He liked Chibi's own handwriting, which no one but Chibi could read, and he tacked that up on the wall. And he often spent time talking with Chibi when no one was around. That's really nice, right? Because Mr. Isobe is making him feel special now. He's hanging up his pictures, he's hanging up his writings, right? But when Chibi appeared on the stage at the talent show of that year, no one could believe his eyes. Who is that? What can that stupid do up there? Now that's not nice, right? Until Mr. Isobe announced that Chibi was going to imitate the voices of crows. Voices? Voices of crows? Voices of crows? No one could believe that. Voices of crows. First, he imitated the voices of newly hatched crows, and he made the mother's crow's voice. Then he imitated the father's crow's voice. He showed how crows cry early in the morning. He showed how crows cry when the village people have some unhappy accident. He showed how crows call when they are happy and gay. Everybody's mind was taken to the far mountainside from which Chibi probably came to the school. At the end, to imitate a crow on an old tree, Chibi made very special sounds deep down in his throat. Quack, quack. Now everyone could imagine exactly the far and lonely place where Chibi lived with his family. And that's where he lives. Then Mr. Isobe explained how Chibi had learned those calls, leaving his home for school at dawn and arriving home at sunset, every day for 6 long years. Every one of us cried, thinking how much we had been wrong to Chibi all those long years. Even grown-ups wiped their eyes, saying, yes, yes, he is wonderful. Soon after that, graduation day came. Chibi was the only one in our class honored for perfect attendance through all the 6 years. After school was over, the big boys would often have to work to do in their village for their families. Sometimes Chibi came to the village to sell the charcoal he and his family made. But nobody called him Chibi anymore. We all called him Crowboy. Hi, Crowboy. Crowboy would nod and smiled as if he liked the name. And when his work was done, he would buy a few things for his family. Then he would set off home on the far side of the mountain, stretching his grown shoulders proudly like a grown-up man. And from around the turn of the mountain road would come a crow call, the happy one. The end. So that just shows you that we don't judge others, right? And that it's not right to call others by not their name, right? We don't call them those ugly words in here. So we want to call them by their name. And we want to see, after Chibi demonstrates his imitation of crow voices at the talent show, the children and students cry. They start crying. I wonder what they thought after seeing Chibi perform in the show. How do you think it made Chibi feel to see everyone crying? And why do you think Mr. Asobi explains to everyone how Chibi learned to make the crow voices, right? So you just have to get to know the people, right? Get to know them and learn about them and not call them ugly names. We call them by their name. We want to be respectful. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.